Welcome to the Hidden Orchard podcast, a radical exploration of spirituality, science, and the Bible from a Jewish perspective. Each week we'll look at a new topic and dive deep into the texts that inspire and enrich our lives. So whether you're a seasoned expert or just curious about a topic, there's something for everyone. So sit back, relax, and we'll get to today's episode in a bit. But first, if you haven't done so, visit thehiddenorchard.com and subscribe. It's free, and you'll receive access to content and weekly emails. There you can also subscribe for a paid membership and get access to everything on the site and be the first to hear about online study opportunities where you can meet and interact with other people on the journey. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you have an idea for a topic, reach out to me at thehiddenorchard.com. Now let's get to today's episode. Years ago, a friend told me about an incident that happened one night during their shift at a local restaurant. One server was assigned to a table of a large family with many kids. As soon as she delivered one refill, another kid would ask for a refill or something else. The table ended up demanding more attention than any of her other customers, and the family left the area somewhat of a mess. When the check was returned, the tip line was empty. Nothing. Angrily, the server stormed down a tiny hallway into the kitchen to vent. About 30 seconds into her rant, her audience motioned for her to stop, looking over her shoulder, noticing someone behind her who had followed her into the kitchen. Surprised to see a customer this far into the kitchen, she looked down to see a smiling kid looking up with her with a stack of bills in his hand. It was the tip. Thankfully, he was too young to understand what she was saying just prior, and the tip he handed her was the best of the night. Needless to say, she misjudged the family. This world can be harsh. Often we rush to make snap judgments and condemn others quickly when they make a mistake. Sometimes we assume the worst of someone's intentions even if we don't know them, and we don't take the time to understand the full story. That's where we are going to talk about a Musar principle called L'kaf Zechut, and it translates to judging others favorably. This ancient ethic instructs us to give others the benefit of the doubt. Pirkei Avot 1:6 tells us to judge everyone favorably. And aside from helping one build a positive outlook of others and a positive worldview, the rabbinic tradition tells us that judging others favorably will actually allow us to be judged favorably as well. Of course, this idea is echoed in the New Testament many times. For example, Matthew 7:2, "For by the standard you judge, you will be judged, and the measure you will use will be the measure you receive." It's a common rabbinic idea here. This is similar to the philosophical principle known as Hanlon's razor, which advises against assuming malicious intent when a simpler explanation like ignorance or incompetence will suffice. This teaching encourages us to view others with understanding and compassion and empathy, assuming the best when we don't have the full picture, not the worst. Sometimes this means we'll need to get creative, considering the theoretical rationale for someone's odd behavior, or even putting ourselves in their shoes. In the book, The Other Side of the Story, the author says, "Judging others favorably means finding acceptable excuses for questionable behavior, excuses which make sense to us and leave us with a positive feeling about the other person. It's based on a desire to see the best in others." Now, judging others favorably is uniquely difficult in our generation, when the media monetizes emotional outrage and division. Algorithms present content on social media platforms that are specifically engineered to incite anger and fear. People are dehumanized and grouped into oversimplified victim versus villain dichotomies, and the roles are inverted based on your preferences. Scroll through your feed for a moment and pay attention to the subtle emotional reactions and judgments that arise in the subconscious of your mind. And though some people indeed do have ulterior motives, not everyone does, and discerning the difference is our responsibility. Assuming the worst in others also has hazards we may not think about. On one hand, it contributes to baseless hatred, sinat chinam, an idea that caused the destruction of the Second Temple. The Chafetz Chaim also tells us that Lashon Hara stems from judging others negatively. If in the story above, the kitchen staff had accepted the server's story and formed a negative opinion of the family, they would have violated a number of Torah commands, first of which is accepting a false report. The speaker and the listeners would have engaged in 3 particularly bad transgressions: lashon hara, which is evil speech, accepting a false report, and not judging others favorably, creating a general bias against those people of whom they don't know. The good news is that we already have the tools to judge others favorably, and we actually do it all the time. Any mistakes we make are usually forgiven very quickly, with a complete backstory that justifies our actions. As the Baal Shem Tov said, just as we love ourselves despite our shortcomings, we should love others despite their shortcomings. So here's some practical tips, a few steps to get through judging others favorably. If an incident occurs, step 1, pause. Simply pause. Prevent old habits and thought patterns from running their course. This tip can be applied to virtually any Musar principle. Instead of reacting negatively, assuming malice, and then gossiping with others, control your emotions and choose a healthier approach. Step 2, assume you lack the necessary information. Assume that you don't have the full story, and that critical information is missing that could render this situation or your perception of it benign or even positive. Step 3, use your imagination. Begin to list 1 or 2 reasonable, positive explanations to explain what you saw. Step 4, show grace. Think long-term. With friends, family, co-workers, and whoever, mistakes will be made, and miscommunications happen. Generally, people are carrying more burden and stress than we're aware of. Show grace and forgiveness when hurt, and don't always assume the worst. Think long-term. Step 5, communication. If necessary, reach out gently and ask if everything is okay. A quick conversation can clear up confusion, and asking the question about a certain incident might even reveal the other side of the story. In conclusion, judging others favorably is a true Torah ethic and one of the most important that can begin to change the world around us. Best of all, it can be learned and lived by anyone. If everyone were to practice this one discipline, we would see a kinder and more forgiving world. That's it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed this topic. Remember, you can find more information at thehiddenorchard.com. If you liked what you heard, please leave a review and share this podcast with your friends. We don't really engage in marketing, so it's word of mouth and references like that really help spread the word. Also, I want to say thank you to those who subscribe to the site and those who support the Hidden Orchard Project financially. Without you, it wouldn't be possible, so thank you. Thanks to everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.